Ghanaian president, John Mahama. He was speaking, making speech eloquently, even though he uses teleprompter. But I'm not even seeing all these soldiers standing at the back. But when Tinubu was speaking, I just saw the guy said, when are we going to do away with all this military mentality? And I don't even understand this man. So it's like he has nothing upstairs.
It's
Now,
power.
concerning what
Exactly, it's about
Solomon,
power.
exactly, power, show of force, show of power. Now, concerning what Solomon Lalong said, actually the man is right in one way or the other. Even though he was part of Buhari's government, is right because number one, what do you expect? Somebody that all the taxes of Lagos State is only one company that is collecting it, and that is Tinubu's company, Alpha Beta.
Yep.
So what do you expect? So the gangs there in Alpha Beta, he has shipped them to federal FIRLs. You know, there was one time, now that's one of the reasons why the northern leaders are fighting that now they don't want this tax reform because they believe that it's still going to be Alpha Beta that are still going to be collecting those taxes.
That's right.
And Tinubu is going to take his own share. Now, in Lagos State now, every tax that Lagos State government generates, the company Alpha Beta collects like 20%. Now, from that 20%, Tinubu takes at least, as a shareholder or the owner of the company, he takes 10%. So which means that if Lagos State generates 200 billion every month, Alpha Beta company is entitled to like 40 billion. Exactly. Out of that 40 billion, Tinubu is entitled to
20.
4 billion exactly every month.
It's not
So
hard
these
to
are
tell.
one of the things that,
You know, if you read the tax bill that they are
yes,
pushing, Baba, there's a space there that says the agency, which is the FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service,
yes,
that they have the
yes.
power to appoint a third party to collect the tax for them.
There's
Which
nothing to
means
tell
the
us about
power
that
to
Alpha Beta
issue
company.
that is upon in that bill is upon FIRS. Even though they are saying as well, they're
Exactly.
saying that no, they were not going to use any third parties, you know, like, or if you read it very well, if you read the bill, the FIRS, which is the government empowered agency to collect taxes, right? They also have the power
Yes.
to delegate the collection of their taxes to a third party. People know where this is headed. But I actually want them to pass it.
And
I mean, everything just blew up, man.
And that's why Body George was asking them that, okay, Body George call out, said, okay, ask Oshibaju, ask Tinubu, who formed Alpha Beta. They know better. They couldn't respond. They couldn't respond to him. That's one. Now, concerning for Oyo State, that the Fulanis are now returning back, the bandit or the terrorists are returning back.
Escaping to Oyo. Sheyi Makinde said that.
Exactly. Look, on the normal ground, if we really want to do it, as a state in the US, do you know that America has two types of military? We have the federal military and the state military,
yes,
which they call the National Guard. Yes, each state has own National Guard. The National Guard is more or less like a reserve for the US military. In case that maybe there's an emergency and the main military is already overstressed, they can call on the National Guard, federalize it, and to do the job. If we have that kind of system here in Nigeria, as a National Guard, like for example now, Oyo State National Guard or Oyo State National Army Guard, they can go into all those forests and dismantle everything because they are under the control of the...
What about Amotekun? If Amotekun is well armed with the modern equipment and training, they can sweep this whole forest of these terrorists.
Exactly.
But what is holding them? Because Abuja says they cannot use automatic weapons. Can you believe that?
That's
you want to fight terrorists,
and
you can't use automatic weapons.
So we should use gun.
And now, Shakabula.
And now, do you know who is even urging the National Security Advisor, the Fulani man,
yes.
So what do you expect?
Well, there you have your answer.
You can't expect it.
Baba, let me take another one.
Yeah. Let me give you.
Thank you so much for always. Okay, you stay safe and please stay safe. It's so important.
Yeah.
Have a good one. So thank you so much there. I have another caller. I bet this is the Prince Adewale, the African Wahala. How are you, Baba?
Yes, sir, my brother. I'm good. I'm doing very well.
Fantastic.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I remember when this guy, Bashir Magashi, told us to defend ourselves against Fulani terrorists
and it was
with
the minister,
catapults.
by the way. I want you to say that too.
Yeah. Yeah, the Minister of Defense of a failed country. Yes, he told us to defend ourselves from terrorists with machine guns, with catapults. Meanwhile, his boss,
away from terrorists.
Yeah, he said we are not cowards. Don't be cowards. Go and fight against them with catapults. Meanwhile, his boss in Asshole Rock was shocked whenever people were killed or kidnapped because he was, what was that word that Lalong used? He was an outsider in his government.
Yes.
So the people that died, no justice for them. Their lives don't matter. The people whose businesses were destroyed, the people that died, most importantly, the people that are left maimed with permanent disabilities, nothing for them. So Nigeria would always show us that it's not a real country. It's a contraption, and it's never ever going to work. Personally, that's what I believe.
Yes.
Now, the reason I called in was because I was looking at the Mahama speech in Ghana, and they said something profound. They said, while inviting Ibrahim Traore on stage, they mentioned, the meaning of Burkina Faso is the upright people, upstanding people, something like that. The people with integrity.
Integrity people.
Yes, exactly. That alone is another reason why these shameless animals like Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, these shameless idiots, all those animals that go claim that they are representatives of Nigeria, they travel around the world pretending like they are actually representing a country. They wear the badge of, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a Nigerian official, so recognize me because we have a real country. These idiots, these animals that are ministers and governors and the president, Tinubu, they should be ashamed of themselves, because if Burkina Faso could have changed its name from the slave name Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, something that has a meaning in their language, and Ghana did the same thing, changed its name from the Gold Coast to Ghana, which has a meaning in their language. But these shameless idiots, and this is also an opportunity for people to maybe do some research into their history, because there is no way you should be proud of an entity, an entity that was given a slave name, Niger area, by a couple who, I heard Flora Shaw was using Frederick Lugard to do Yanga for the longest time. They ended up getting married in their mid-40s or towards their 50s. They had no children. If such a couple could have come together and give this useless contraption a name, Nigeria, that has no meaning to anybody anywhere in the world, and people are proud to bear that useless name, I just don't get it. Personally, I don't get it. So it's what, Nigeria disappointed us so much.
To them, they don't know that a name can't just be a name has to have something that what do you call it, traditionally or religiously connected to you. It has to be something that spiritually you have to have some connection to that.
Exactly.
I am not closer to the River Niger, so I can't be a Nigerian, if not because of this what do you call it? I can't be somebody from the Niger area. I am not closer to the Niger, right? So you force people from the hinterland and the people from the wetland to the people of the Sahara, and you force the name on them, and here we are with serious identity crisis, isn't it?
And they're telling us that we are one Nigeria. I mean, if you this stupid country, Marigo, this country punished us so much that it made some of us start researching we started researching into our history, and thank you to Princess Balogun. Happy birthday to her. She shared a very important book in the comment section about one of those European British women that was in the contraption. Back then there was no contraption. It was the Yoruba country in the late 1800s,
Yes.
before the Berlin Conference.
That's right.
Okay, so in that book, she was describing how the people basically had a country. So we had a country, but this contraption that was given to us has destroyed our lives, made all of us poor. At least 85% of the population is poor, and it has been that way consistently for 125 years. So why is anybody still proud of such a contraption that the name has no spiritual meaning? In fact, that name is bringing a curse upon that land. That name is bringing a curse upon the people. So we are very, very upset.
People just want to be like positive. Let's be positive. You can't be positive in the face of negativity that is pretty much like ingrained in us. We carry this negativity around, and then you want to be positive about that. That's living in denial. People need to understand that saying these things doesn't mean that we are the hater. No, it may be inconvenient. They're like inconvenient truth. All right. But why are you afraid of dropping something that has been so negative towards us all our lives? Why are the people afraid?
I have the answer. Maigun, I have the answer. It's because people have been indoctrinated throughout their lives, and it's very hard to break that indoctrination. It's the same way you find people, they understand that their pastors are pastorpreneurs that are stealing their money, but they just can't break that chain because they've been mentally and spiritually sacrificed to that entity. The same way many people have been mentally, spiritually sacrificed to this fake, useless contraption. Umayigun, thank you for letting me rant, my brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much all the time too. You should have a good one, okay? Indeed, it may sound, especially if you are just watching Mayegun's Diary Politico. I have people who have tried to say we should be positive. There are convenient truths. There are inconvenient truths. Convenient truth is a lie. It's just a fancy word to make it look like it's all right. But sometimes maybe when we keep repeating or reminding ourselves what is really wrong, and we stop living in denial, okay, the denial of what we do know or we don't want to believe it's our reality. So inconvenient truth is the truth. The one that you are never going to be happy to hear, or you are also going to be happy at the end of it all, that Nigeria is where we all come from. And this is the identity that we are carrying about. But it is not our identity. No matter how much we want to make it look normal, because this is our reality, right? It is still not normal. There's something better. And that is the real person, the real people that we are. And that is the one they are telling us that it should be secondary. For example, somebody will say, my Yorubaness is more important than my Nigerianness. Isn't that like a mental health problem? Because in reality, right, majority of us will defend our different ethnic nationalities than we will defend Nigeria. In truth, if somebody says something about the Yorubas right now, some of us will take offense. Yeah, even though you might be a one Nigerianist. Somebody says something right now and it is not true about the Yorubas, you will take offense. You become enraged. And if you have your way of kind of like hitting that person, you will do it. If somebody says something that is not right about the Igbos, you will get mad, angrier. Won't you? If your tribe or your ethnic nationality is mentioned in a derogatory way, you'll be very angry. Because that's who you are. There is nobody that is patriotic to Nigeria. Even those who claim to be, they are a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, those who claim to be patriotic to Nigeria, they are not. Some of them will tell you they are patriotic to Nigeria because if Nigeria is paying their bills, if they are benefiting from the rot, it's like those people who are now shouting that they love Nigeria because of Tinubu right now. Like a few years back, these were people who wanted Nigeria to break up. Yeah, they were Yorubas. Let's break it up. This country is going to let us break it up. I prefer Yoruba nation. But today, because a Yoruba man is your president, and some of them are getting political appointments or benefiting from the political arrangements, suddenly they love Nigeria. Suddenly, anybody who talks about Nigeria in a negative way, that person must be dealt with. We must all come together and make this country work because they're not the chop. That is hypocrisy. That is something that a lot of us have in us. We do have it in us. I love Yoruba land. I love Yoruba people. I love everything about Yoruba land. And if you say something negative about Yoruba, I will be upset. Yeah, I will be upset. Oh, you can say whatever you want about Nigeria. It won't really bother me. And there are many of us like that. Millions of us like that. There are some of us who are like openly will say it and, like, we are not bothered. If you want to say anything about Nigeria, say whatever you want about Nigeria. I'm just like, well, I can't. Nigerians are criminals. Nigerians are in jail there and there. It's none of my business. Like, even though it should be, it should be because the stigma is what we all carried about. I mean, we carry it around. We carry that around. But the truest, the reality is that we are more loyal to our tribes and our ethnic nationalities. We are more loyal to them than we are to this contraption Nigeria. So why can't you be that honest? Why do you want to be politically correct? Why do you want to sound as if to say, you know what I mean? By lying to yourself or lying to everyone will make it kind of like better. Stop it. I'm not saying there are not some of you who are gullible enough to believe in this one contraption Nigeria, because yes, we do have people like that. Especially those of you that love Nigeria from abroad. Nigeria is a very beautiful country. You see, the only problem of Nigeria is bad leadership. Mayegun, let me tell you something. Nigeria can work. That's my friend who lives in California, or who is currently living in London, or living in Canada. Nigeria is a beautiful country. I said, how come you are not relocating back to that? A beautiful country. Because at least now, go make it better. Nobody say you go to love Nigeria from abroad. You have no plan of living there. You have to be living there. See, if you believe so much in Nigeria, you should leave Canada, leave America, leave UK. Go back to that Nigeria to make it work. But you are not interested in making it work because you are deluded, making yourself feel like other people should do it for you. Me, I don't believe in Nigeria. Do you understand? So don't ask me to go back to Nigeria and make it work. I don't want it to work. Because it can't work and it will never work. That is that is my reality. And I don't deny it. I don't pretend that, okay, or maybe I have another belief that maybe it can work. Or maybe if I am the one in charge, it will. No, I don't. I understand these differences and I respect our differences. In fact, it is the uniqueness of our differences that gives people like us clarity. I mean, people like us clarity. That yes, we can be different. And there's nothing bad in that. In that difference, acknowledging that difference, in fact, could be the beauty. What they call diversity. The diversity, our differences, is a beautiful thing. It can only be a beautiful thing if we acknowledge them. You need to first acknowledge our differences, respect our differences, and then maybe have an agreement that says the Igbos, they will not take anything like this from anybody. Say, okay, fine, we respect that. The Hausas will not take anything like this from anybody. You say, yes, we respect that. The Yorubas will not accept anything like this from anybody. I say, okay, yes, this is what Yorubas will not accept. So we kind of give everybody that regard. by acknowledging and recognizing their differences. Then if they now say, okay, once we respect all these differences, so on these terms, that terms, they are the terms of us coming together to coexist, then you can talk about having a country. Not somebody just saying that we are one because we all have black skins. We are all black. We are Africans. Go to hell. We are Africans. We are one. We are this or that. And let's forget our differences. Are you mad? Forget your differences. So that someone, and this is it all, and they tell you that let's forget all our differences and come together as brothers and sisters. That is why a Fulani terrorist will carry AK-47 and walk straight to Ogbomoso and start killing people, because he didn't give a damn about the Ogbomoso and the Ogbomoso people's, what do you call it, their uniqueness or whatever, their difference and all of that. He doesn't give a damn. He believes he can do it because we are one. We are not one. You know? Something that people need to understand. There's nothing wrong in our differences. Our differences are called diversity. Okay? If you go to India, for example, the supposed most populated country in the world, I think. All right. Which one is more populated? Is it India or China? I think China is 1.4. No, sorry, China is 1.2 billion. India is 1.4 billion. Sorry if I'm kind of like putting them side by side anyway. If you go to India, you will see hundreds of different tribes, ethnic, this and that, you get, with their own uniqueness. To some extent, well-defined and acknowledged and recognized. So you need the same thing. So when the Pakistanis, who was once part of India, when they felt like, no, we can't be part of India, we are Pakistanis, they got their own countries. Malaysia, you are supposed to be part of India. No, we don't want to be part of India. We want to be on our own country. They had their own country. So similarly, you can't force people who have nothing in common together just simply because they look the same or they kind of look closer alike. No, that's rubbish. In common together just simply look the same or they kind of look.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you, Baba?
I'm very fine. I just want to add my own observation in what you said now about India.
Please, sir, go on.
People know that in India, even though they use English at some of their universities, they still use different languages they have from primary to secondary school. It's only when you want to maybe further for international study outside India, that's when you now want to learn English, maybe to come to England or go to the United States, Russia. Then you now choose whatever language you want to study in those countries. So in context, let's say, since we're in Nigeria, somebody from Southwest can decide, I'm not leaving Nigeria, I only want to study in Nigeria, then the language I used to study will be Yoruba.
Yes.
Another will decide that, oh, so they have universities where you can study even medicine in their native language.
Study medicine, science in Yoruba. Igbo, or in Hausa.
Why can't you have a Hausa person this? And it's not if these languages are not developed. They are developed.
Yeah.
If you can have Bible
in all languages.
In all languages.
So why can't we have our study, our schools?
And we believe that God is the source of knowledge. And maybe the supreme knowledge is religious knowledge. In that, okay, for people who believe in religion, and maybe science is a sub knowledge for religion, you cannot now study what God has endowed you in your own natural language. Automatically, you'll be subservient to the language you are studying in.
That's right. Because
you can never understand
language to actually die. And they succeeded to some extent.
The same thing happens in Russia. Do people know that even in Russia, they have their own. It's Russian that was it combines them. I think in Dagestan, the Arabic is even an official language there, and they use Sharia in the Dagestani Republic.
Yep.
In Russia. So, but there's something about black mentality. I don't want to ascribe it to black, but unfortunately, if you look at